Why do you always do this? Why do you always have to outdo me?
Because you always outdo me.
That's true. That's so true. That's so true. It's factuals. All right, you're gonna have to speak directly into it because this mic is such a diva.
And honestly, when I watch other interviews, I get so mad when people aren't at the mic. So like,
right?
I need to fucking
Oh
do
my
it.
god! I'm like, yo, put the
Especially
mic to your
like
fucking
rap interviews,
face.
and you're
Used to
like,
it,
fuck, like, yeah, I guess so.
Except it's hard when you're holding it, because then like.
Yeah, you have to move it. Yeah, you
Just turn your damn hand with the mic. Sorry, you're not
Requires
a
practice.
live performer, so you wouldn't understand.
Rappers out here.
This is
39 or
this is
38.
39, right?
Tim was 30.
Tim was 37.
So it's 39.
Damn, nigga, that's
That's
crazy.
amazing.
Almost
39.
50, bro. Almost.
Hey, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Oh,
Cause
wait. So that means 10 more weeks. No, that makes sense. Because I was thinking, like, it feels like if it's a whole year,
yeah.
it would kind of be.
Oh, we
like
didn't
it'd
start
be
at the
more.
beginning of the year.
Yeah.
We started in March.
And I forget that 10 weeks is a long time.
Yeah.
So-
10 weeks.
Yeah, this is not just like
10 weeks
fucking
is
a
a
1 month.
fairly long time. Does it? Okay. Have you felt like the past, like?
Are you recording right now?
Yeah, I am.
Are you sure?
Yeah. The red,
Okay.
the button's right. The best.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, we got it.
Hey.
Because last
Yeah, no,
episode
no.
we went the entire episode
Good thing the mic.
just
With
having
nothing.
a whole ass conversation for like 40 minutes. And then at the end, I'm like, yo, thank you guys for watching. And I check and I'm like, oh shit, it didn't record.
Oh my god.
So now we're gonna
fucking
have to
awful.
use the audio from like the mic.
That'd be
from the
so
camera.
painful. Like even just thinking about it hurts my heart.
Oh, dude, I was like, fuck.
Because I just like you just be you're so mad at the last hour. You're like the last hour didn't mean shit. Like it's
Yeah.
a write off.
Like, yeah, let's just redo it.
Yeah.
let's just rehab
What
a
we
whole
talked
different
about again?
conversation.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would be better.
That would be so stupid.
Yeah.
What was I-
Script.
Oh yeah. I don't even know if that's gonna be possible, bro. Like I need to figure out how to do all 4 episodes, to have them uploaded and scheduled,
Yeah.
and have all the artwork done for them, all the previews done, and send those to you so you could just upload them because I don't have any internet while I'm gone, which is
Oh,
perfect
yeah,
because
you
I've
need
been
that.
wanting to
Yeah,
stay
you
away
need
from
that.
that shit.
Yeah.
But
Send me.
We'll
I
see.
can do the photos. Just send me the templates.
I'll have everything.
Are you bringing
Don't
like
worry.
all your shit like to work on, or are you just like actually pause?
I think I'm gonna bring. Shit, that's a
Nah,
good ass
bring it. Like
question.
you have to.
Yeah,
bring
yeah.
your
That's a good
technology
ass
I feel
just in
like
case.
you have to bring some forms, but maybe like challenge yourself and not have the laptop, or like just have a notebook, or like something, or bring the laptop and like I don't know, but like
But if you feel the creative like urge to just make something, then
yeah,
you should,
maybe
you should just
like
have
for
it.
accessibility, like
Yeah.
if it does come up, but like I don't know, look at it in a certain way. I'm
That's
just
such
like,
a good thing.
you know?
I actually have no idea. No, I think I'll bring the laptop. I cannot not
Yeah.
bring my work. Like I
It's
could probably
probably
get
safer to bring it,
I could get a shit ton of things done if I really.
but challenge yourself to
Stay-
channel in that creative energy through another way that's not just a laptop. If that do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like try and find like actual inspiration or like drive from like the notebook or from like the water. Like
yeah.
water, yeah.
I think I'm gonna focus mainly on photos.
word. Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna fix one of a manual film camera Eddie gave me, and then I'm gonna just focus more on taking nice photos because
Yeah.
it's like a cruise, so you end up in various places.
And you're gonna take photos anyway.
Yeah, you're gonna take photos anyway, so might as well try to make something out
that's
of it,
like
right?
Easiest medium,
Yeah.
especially when you're traveling.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna focus more on photos and writing, maybe,
Yeah, writing would be good for sure.
and maybe just like sketches for designs and stuff for the collection that I'm working. Yeah,
That's
You know
a
what?
lot of silence and time.
Yeah.
That's so good though. It's
It's 2
needed.
weeks.
Like that's
Yeah.
honestly that's the time where you can create and like
Yeah.
the ideas come to you because you can listen. Like take in like we're go so much, especially in school and work.
Yeah.
Like we actually don't have time to listen to our thoughts or listen to like what other things are telling us. Like with that
I mean, that's
though,
that's kind of how shit is structured here
yeah.
these days. It's like
Makes money.
as
It's easy.
it's funny because from a perspective of me who fucking I'm restless, like I need to be working on something all the time. Like the way society works is like we glorify the opposite of stillness.
Yeah.
We glorify restlessness, which is why so many people are so fucking like stressed out and anxious and
not
depressed
used to
all the time.
emotions. Yeah,
Yeah,
we have no time to hear them. Like,
'Cause
what do you
it's
mean?
like- yeah, no one has the time to stop and like
yeah,
think, right?
like you're fucking depressed in like middle of class because you need to cry, bro. Like
No one has the time
go
to be
home,
depressed. Like no one has the time to be sad because it's
Yeah.
like, yo, like I have exams, you know. I don't even have
Yeah.
the time for to just.
I don't have
take
time
a-
to eat. I don't have to have a shower, like let alone like feel.
Yeah,
Like-
that's why I guess we talk about like meditation so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it's the easiest and most straightforward way that you could just get a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's like 5 minutes, it'll make such a huge difference.
That's the hardest thing to do, just to not do anything.
Well, it's interesting
Yeah.
because like I like how much you guys talk about meditation, and like I don't necessarily. Well, I kind of like to think of that I do meditation like all throughout the day, if that makes sense, because I've like been able to train my mind from a young age because I got into YouTube at like grade fucking like 4 or 5.
Best
so
thing
like
ever.
yeah, so like that's I was set, you know, like I
Yeah.
could find anything on there.
Yeah.
So I knew ways to like just tweak your mind, you know, take over that power and that control. And so like I learned to just always keep my mind just like most of the time I'm not even thinking about shit. Like it's just empty. Like most of the time I'm just like sitting there like
Yeah.
and that's why I can have so much patience, like especially with my art, because like each piece takes like 11, 12, 13, 14 hours,
That's
like, you know,
fucked.
but like every one of those minutes, seconds, I'm chilling. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm listening to music and I'm like, just like.
Wait, if you got into YouTube in grade 4, what were you watching?
It started off with like, cause I do makeup too. So I started off with like the beauty stuff, but also as like, it's important to understand, like, as in elementary school, I was like the complete opposite of like what I was now, but in such an extreme way. Like I was like the most angry, like freaking, like I seriously couldn't find like one thing to be happy about or like one thing that I
Damn.
could connect to, or like, and I was like this till like I was 12. Like everybody, like my family, like poor family, bro, because like I didn't appreciate shit. Like I was just fucking angry, like,
Damn.
and I had so much attitude. And
Do you
I
know
just,
why?
like,
Or was it just your
it
personality?
was just how I was at that time. Like I just couldn't see like any goodness like in the way that I do now. And then what helped that was like at such a young age, and with being involved in YouTube, like, you know, you see those like those side videos and all
Yeah.
that. And I started finding like videos just on happiness. Like, you know, those like fucking like those cheesy ass videos now, of,
Yeah.
like how to be happy. Like, or,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
how
yeah.
to, it's like 5 ways you can be happy. Like, so I was like, but at the time it was new. It was like fresh. Like that was just coming out. And so people were just genuinely like sharing their experience of just like understanding gratitude more.
Yeah.
And like, you know, those like the book, like the 4 laws of attraction, like the laws of
Yeah.
those books.
4 agreements.
Yeah, 4 agreements. Yeah. So like these like concrete, like foundational just teachings that if you start to learn, like actually act with those like every single day, like make like big differences. So at a young age, I saw these videos and I saw like how, I guess, like strong and powerful just being happy and like positive was, and just like finding the good. Cause like shit, we got some good around us, and like I wasn't seeing it before.
Always
you know?
do, yeah.
And so that's kind of how that like shift happened. But every day going to school, like I challenged myself. Like I fucking worked hard to like be in a mindset where I am now. But I fucking would go to school like at this age, and every single day, like walking to school, I'd like list off everything I was grateful for every day.
That's so
Wow.
sick.
And I wouldn't double it. So the next
pretty
day I
crazy.
could never repeat it. And I did it for months, yo.
Doubled it?
No, I never doubled it.
So-
like I never repeated what I
wow.
said. So I
So
just
you
kept
just
going.
found something new
Yeah.
every day.
So you have to just start like
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
and then it puts things into perspective. You're like, no, like I need this warmth, or like the wind is cool as shit. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like
Because over time, I feel like your brain starts to get rewired. Like you said, you
have to
did over
notice
a lot
more.
of
You have to
months.
watch,
Yeah.
you know, you have to like.
So not
actually
only
look
not only
around.
does it make you mindful, it
Yeah.
also makes you mindful of the good shit.
Yeah, and I was
So-
so dark. Like I didn't see any of it. Like seriously, I was just fighting with my like family left and right. The only person I was like really close to was my dad. Like still is, but like he's the only one that could like get that like soft side of me really,
Yeah.
and like no one else could get that. And then when I started looking into this, like my family was seriously like, "Who the fuck are you?" Like they were like shook, and I was like,
Damn.
"What do you mean? Like life's good?" Like, I was-
Because knowing you from like grade 11, I
I've
would never
always-
expect that
right?
you used to be the type of person
Because
to be
I'm like
negative.
happy as fuck.
Because you're
like,
always like laughing and you're
Yeah.
always just jolly.
Yeah.
Right?
So
So,
those videos
wow.
like really helped. And then so I kept doing that. And then also what I also did, which took a lot of work, was every time I had a negative thought, I'd change it. Like I'd tweak it, or I'd like put the other perspective. Like for example, I
You're
have
saying it like it's so easy.
I know, I know. Like, And it's hard to break this shit down now because, like, you know, it's not easy. And, and I was doing it at a time where it was probably easier to do because I was in elementary school and I had more time to do it, you know? Not all this, like, real life shit.
Real life hadn't set in yet.
So it's not like this is, like, the route to, like, fucking get out of, like, the dumps. But, like, you know, it's just nice to be more mindful. And, like, so I would just be just aware of every thought that comes in. And so I think that's important in general. Just being, like, even now, for example, like, if I have, like, a judgmental thought that, like, pops up of, like, somebody that I just saw or whatever, like, I correct that shit right away. I'm like, nah, that was not cool. Like, you need to take that shit back and, like, watch your fucking mouth. Like, you know? Sick. And, like, same thing. So when I was growing up, if I was like, oh my God, like, you know, this and this is happening tomorrow, I'm like, okay, what else is happening tomorrow? Or, like, what's the other contrast of that? And so I think, like, that's how it changed, like, my perspective and my mindset. But just, like, how I view situations or, like, how I handle situations, like, I always make sure I try and, like, switch my mindset to see, like, everybody's perspective, like, part of it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. At least try. Like, you can't, like, I can't feel what you feel, but,
but you can try.
But I can try. You know, I can gather, like, maybe the things that you, like, grew up with or, like, some of the things that you carry or, like, some of your strengths, weaknesses, whatever, gather it up and then, like, take, like, a quick, like, evaluation of the situation. So. Yeah.
But it's not easy, but just because people are at their age that they're now and those,
it's like, more complicated.
Yeah, it's harder, but it's still not something that's impossible to do, right? I think if you're like honest enough with yourself and you're at a point where you're not happy with, let's say, who you are as a person, the change, I think what you notice, which is probably not something you consciously notice, is just through browsing through YouTube, you just ended up just coming across what you needed at the time, right? And especially at that time, it's the perfect time to come across YouTube because it was way more genuine around that time than today.
Home videos.
Yeah, because today is just like companies have caught up and it's becoming TV more and more every day. But around that time was people genuinely just
big
loved
sister
it.
advice. Like, I'd be watching, like, these older girls that were like 18, 19. Like, you know, but I needed that at the time. I was just being like, shit's not that bad. Like, look at the sun. Like, you know.
So I guess
so I was like, I don't need shit. Like,
look at the sun.
Now I do, and I'm like, where are you?
Yeah, but it's the small things, right? I think that gratitude thing is huge. So huge because gratitude is, I think, one of the most important
changed my life,
emotions and, like, things habits that people could develop. Because no matter how bad things are, there's always something that you could look at that you can be happy for.
And I would always feel bad even trying to, like, talk about this with people, like, how, like, my journey, I guess, with, like, me changing my mindset. Like, I don't even talk about it to people because especially with people who maybe deal with more heavy, like, stuff in their life, like, it's so hard for them to, like, see this as, like, a easy thing. And, like, when I talk about it, it sounds easy because of how I do it. And I'm like, no, I'm not trying to it's
because it's second nature to you.
Any of the work that you do or, like, the heaviness that you hold, like, that's yours, man. And, like, it's hard. Like, this isn't easy. Like, this isn't, like, a flip of the switch thing. But, like, yeah, definitely, like, you should totally dive in and just, like, be raw and truthful with yourself. Like, honestly, it was interesting because I've been reading this, like, book called We Were Not the Savages, or We Were Never the Savages. And it's by a author called Daniel Paul, but he's Mi'kmaq too. So I'm Mi'kmaq, like, in First Nation, like, that's my people. And so he said that if Mi'kmaq people, like, understood the concept of greed in the first place, like, we would have handled, like, contact and handled the whole situation like so much more different. Like, do you know how much, like, more geared up we would have been, or, like, ready we would have been? Like, we haven't seen greed. Like, we did not even know
you were so welcoming. You thought like, it was
bro, like,
all
we
good
just
intentions, right?
we literally fed you, like, took you in, like, kept you warm, like, you know, gave you our resources, like, in a relationship. We didn't know what greed was. We didn't have it. And so that's all you had. And then you used this, like, foreign power on us that we had no, like, you know.
It's fucked up.
And so how do we fight that? Like, but it was interesting when he said that because I was like, I never thought of it that way. Like, you know, but we didn't have that. Like, you just take what you need and that's it, period. Like, and then you share the rest. Like, that's it. Yeah.
Because reading about those things, I've spoken about this so much. Like, but reading about these things, the way they used to live in, like, First Nations was so different than the way, like, the Europeans used to live, and how when they came, they were so naive because they thought like those people who came here were the same as them, and that things were as peaceful.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that it wasn't.
Yeah.
And it's so fucked up how that happened, because they just assumed those guys had no negative intentions.
Yeah, and it's sad too, because like, you know, like we never had those negative intentions. So it's like, of course you want to just assume the benefit of the doubt, but we didn't even know what could have came, like, you know. So, but like I was also reading because our populations, like Mi'kmaq people were like, so this is the East Coast, so this was like the first area of like contact, so we were like hit like 1500s like pretty quick, like, you know. And yeah, our population was so big, and our people lived up to like 150, like 160, 140, because we were so healthy. Yeah. And there's like true like documentation and like research and like data on this, because we lived with the land and had a full-on relationship with the land.
That's so
and
true,
everything on the land are living beings. So like this is the way the earth is supposed to work. So obviously it's gonna like take care of each, like, you know, but we don't take care of the earth, so that like it's not gonna take care of us now. Like everybody's dropping 60, 70, like
you still do, like, you treated everything as like as an entity to be respected. Like everything was treated with respect,
like full on
with
living
care.
relationship, like taking, like even with our animals now, like for hunting, for example, like our practice, like, so to be respectful and to, you know, follow like our traditional ways with in terms of hunting. So when we're like watching a deer, like watching a moose or whatever, like the typical way is like to you know, watch it over time. Like you go to that same spot or the same areas like for months, like, and you give it food, you check in on it, like, you know, you watch its like moves, like what it's doing, whatever. And then finally, like, and these animals are so smart and intelligent, like they know like they know where you are, they can spell like you can't fool these animals, right? And so, but when an animal presents itself and just gives itself up, like it's not gonna run, it's not gonna do anything, it's just gonna walk in front of you. That's when you can take it, because it's like, okay, I'm gonna now give you my life, and you're gonna take care of it, and you're gonna use every part, and you're gonna use every part for your community, your clothing, your food, your like jewelry, like, and like knives,
that's
tools.
so true too.
And then we're
gonna
so cool. And then we're gonna have this reciprocal relationship, and you're gonna take care of all of like my, you know, my pieces to my body, and then also you're gonna take care of my bones after, and you're gonna bury them in the same place where I just, you know, took my you just took my life.
That's exactly what they do.
And we do that, and then also with that we use like one of our main medicines is tobacco, and so this like medicine we use for like a direct communication to like spirit world. So like anytime you use tobacco, you typically use it in your left hand because it's like directed like right to your heart. But you use it, and that's like just the direct like doorway basically to like spirit world and just like that spiritual life. And so you can just talk, pray, whatever, communication. But when you take an animal, like right before you take it, you put down that tobacco and you acknowledge it, you know, like, thank you. Yeah, I'm like about to take your life. Thank you for presenting it to me. Like, I'm going to take care of you. And then like you do it. And then it's like it's like a full on consensual thing. Wow. But like other hunting is just like kill everything that you can see.
It's killing and just dispose. Like the way you guys do it, it's you not only like use it for food, but it's like you kind of just let it like you kind of take it like its spirit and you let it live on through you.
Oh, for sure.
So it's like you'll make clothing with it, you'll use it to make weapons,
everything.
Like it's like you use it to the most that you can.
Shoes,
it's not just like
winter clothes, like shelter,
there's
like
no waste.
Every sort of part of survival is like also living and like in respectful, fluid, like interactive, interconnected relationships with everything on the land. Like that's what we do.
Yeah, that's what's missing. It's like there's a lack of respect in the way it's done in Western society.
For sure.
It's just
and
like,
if you think about it too, like we're also always mindful of like what parts of the population we're taking too. Like, are we taking a mom? Like what, like how old is this? Like, you know, like
considerate.
Yeah, like considerate of who we're taking. Like rather than like when other people hunt, they could just take every part of the population, and then you're just losing. Like, and now we have moose decline like everywhere. Like, you know, like in Cape Breton, 75% in the last decade like dropped. Like that. And with us, for Mi'kmaq people, like a relationship to the moose is so important because we need it for food and for food security, but also just like cultural, traditional relationships, knowledge, spiritual, like ceremonial knowledge we get from like camping with our elders and going out in the bush and like setting up camp
Yeah.
and like huge gatherings. The whole community comes out and everybody goes hunting together and has these huge feasts and like, you know, it's an amazing
So
thing.
cool.
Like we don't have that. Like, we don't
Yeah.
have much. Like that's like, you know.
And the fact that the way you guys do it is not as accelerated and like commodified.
Yeah,
It
it's not-
allows them to kind of keep reproducing and catching up to like what's going on.
Yeah, and they know
And
what's up.
The
Like,
way it's done for the automated way, it's like it's just so fast, and there's no consideration of like is the species going
It's not the way
out?
nature
Like,
meant it
yeah,
to be.
is there
it's
more?
seriously like,
Is there more out
oh
than
shit,
in?
they ran out. Now
Yeah.
we gotta go somewhere else.
Exactly.
Like,
It's like, oh shit, they're out.
Yeah.
Oh damn, we didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one. It's not like, oh
Yeah.
shit, they ran out. Maybe we should slow down.
Yeah.
It's not that it's wrong to hunt and all
No,
of that.
yeah.
It's that it's being done at such a speed that the species that we're hunting are running out and not having time to even catch up to what's going on.
yeah.
Because it's part of how the world works. Those species eat like it's
There's a
food
whole
chain, right?
ecology,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's food chain.
Yeah.
But it's all flipped now, and we just don't give a fuck.
And it's like, especially like for us, like Mi'kmaq people, like the way, so animals are especially important to us because like and I say like Mi'kmaq people, so when I say this, like a lot of indigenous nations can also like have these beliefs and stuff, but I just never want to like pan-indigenize things. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we're all individuals.
Yeah.
So Mi'kmaq people, like we have like animal spirits. So like the way we, like some people may have like, I'm just gonna use these terms because it's like what people would resonate with, but like guardian angels or, you know, like helpers or something. Like we can have spirit helpers too. So like somebody that like, you know, an animal spirit that just connects with us and it'll present itself. And also it can change over time, or one can be with you that whole life. But like that animal is gonna present you like itself to you in a certain way that only
Yeah.
you will be able to see and know. And then that animal is gonna present like itself to you with its strengths, like, and with its like its properties too, like, you know, like what it carries too, and then
Yeah.
like come with you in a certain way. Like my elder from back home, the way his animal helper, like he was like lost in the bush like hunting at one point, and he was lost and it was nighttime, and like this is like the last freaking place you want to get lost, bro.
Yeah.
Like this is the scariest thing in this world, like, you know, getting lost in the forest. And I believe he started to pray and like, you know, like get me out, you know. And two hummingbirds like came like right like beside his ear, like right there, and just like stayed with him. And then like 5 minutes later he was out. Like, so it's like things like that where
Yeah.
you can't even deny it, right?
Yeah.
And so this is also why, like, you know, moose decline is so hard for like people with like moose helpers, like, you know what I mean? Like there are actually things that like we interact with every day, like actual spirits and like beings that we have relationships with that are just beyond just the physical and just like food and like tools. Like
There's a whole load of like energies that you can't even quantify.
like we love these populations, like we love these beings, like, you know, we
Yeah.
see them, we talk to them. Like if I'm ever around animals, or like even like I try also, like I do this to try and pick up my language, but like if I go outside, I'll like say, like I'll acknowledge the sun in my language, like, you know, kwe means high, so like kwe naguse, which means like kwe, like high sun, like, you know.
Wow.
So acknowledge it because it has like it's a being, it's a
being,
living
yeah,
entity,
yeah.
and they just need acknowledgement. Like at least in our teachings, like they just want to be seen, like you would want to be seen, like, or if you passed, like you would want to be seen, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of good that comes for that. I feel like it's like the thing Dada told us about like the wall.
Yeah, everything is sacred.
Yeah.
Everything is sacred. Everything is alive. Just like the wall is manifesting its consciousness as a wall that's just used to separate rooms. That's
Just a
all it
different
is.
expression of
And
it.
it's still so important. Like
Yeah.
it has purpose. It has, you
Yeah,
know.
and you can acknowledge like anything
Yeah.
like that.
And who are we
And-
to say that it doesn't? Like, you know,
Right?
like we
It's-
literally
it's
ate
made out
shit,
of
like-
things from nature, right?
Yeah.
It's made out of cement and all this shit that we
Yeah.
use from things that grow in nature. And just the fact that you guys do that, there's so much peace that comes with like your interaction with nature. How you guys, like, you're not afraid to just be out. Like people are so, that concept
It's
of
scary.
being out in nature is so
It's
foreign
scary.
to
and
people.
Like, you know, like when people say like go hug a tree or like go talk to the tree, like I would like hear that shit and I'm like, the fuck, like, you know. And then like I'm out here talking to the trees now, like, you know. But like
It's sick,
a
though.
thing.
Yeah.
Like, and when I started going out there, like, so at Trent, so I go to Trent for like people who are watching. So I go to Trent, and they have this whole like traditional area there for Indigenous students, which is like huge because not many institutions like have much for us. Period. But we have this whole area in the forest, so it has a huge teepee, a wigwam, a medicine garden, sweat lodge, sheds, like full like 3-4 cords of wood, like all this stuff, and it's amazing. It's been there for a while, but different people like handle it and like kind of organize it throughout the years. So the first 2 years of university, I'm in my third year, I was able to be head firekeeper there. So my job was to like handle that whole space, like just take care of it like in the best way that I could. And I actually got hired in first year, and like they normally don't even take first years. It was like a crazy thing how it happened. My dad came up to visit me like the day after I came to Trent, and I didn't even know I was going to Trent. Like it wasn't even part of like where I wanted to go. Like my first choice was Dalhousie and Carleton, and then I got into both, and I wanted to go to Dal. But I randomly applied to Trent because I heard other people talking about it. Didn't think about it all summer. And then randomly I went into my basement and just fucking accepted Trent. Like, no reason. Like, I just accepted Trent. And I was like, guys, I'm going to Trent.
What are the odds?
Yeah. And I didn't think about it. I still packed at like 3 a.m. the night before. Like, I didn't realize how much shit I had either. So it was like the biggest bitch. And then, so I'm like getting here like grumpy. Like, I'm not trying to go to Trent. Like, you know, I've never been to Peterborough. I don't even know what it looks like. Like, I just went. And then
you found out.
Yeah. And then the second day I get there, the second day I'm there, my dad shows up and he just surprised me. And he found the traditional area before he even saw me. And I didn't see it yet. And he saw it and he brought me out. He's like, look what I found. Like, look at what they have here.
That's so cool.
And he was like, you're home here. Like, he even told me you're home here. And I saw the place and I was like, oh my God. Wow. Next week I got the job, the head firekeeper. And in my interview, I was like, I don't know much. Like, I really don't. Like, I don't know any, like, all these fire teachings, but like, I'm 100% willing to learn. And like, I've also had like experience growing up just about being involved with the community in general. So I got that job, and my role was to totally take care of the space, volunteer firekeepers. We have fires every Tuesday and Thursday from 10 a.m. till like 4. So anybody can go hang out by the fire. It's like a huge, I know, everybody laughs, cries, use medicines, like revolutionizes. Like we have like amazing ideas and planning out there. Like it's huge. So my job was seriously to like organize firekeepers and like take care of the space, like make sure, because we treat like a teepee like a grandmother. Like, you know, you never want to like leave her without wood, leave garbage in there. Like you want to wrap her up like when you're done, like take good care of her, like, you know. And so that was just huge for me. But with that, like the first year I was there, I saw that like I got the energy that in the past it wasn't like necessarily like used in the full way that it could. Like no one was really going to the teepee. Like no one was going to the traditional area. Yeah. And I was like, why isn't everybody out here? I'm like, like, what do you mean? Like, so I spent the whole year just learning and picking up what I can while also being in this role. And then in the second year, I was like, nah, like I just had the best year of my life out here, and now you all need to do it too. And so I just like worked my ass. I still worked in the university throughout the summer with another job. And even with that job, I did my firekeeper role on the side during the summer to just get like postering and documents together and like just like as many people as I could to be like, hey, look, I either want you to be a firekeeper or I want you to be here as much as possible, but I want you to know that you have space here and like this is for you. And take advantage of it because it'll like take good care of you. And then I didn't expect this to happen, but like all throughout the semester, numbers were up to like 30, 40, like every Tuesday, like Thursday, like the place was like
more
full,
people started coming.
Yeah. And we had events, ceremonies on the side, like classes and seminars were going in there. Like it was such a used space.
That's fire.
And so, yeah, it was just huge. Like all of that just like really like helped my like relationships with the land because being out there so much, I seriously like that place is still like my second half.
You've learned
like,
and got more attached.
Yeah, because I was the one like taking like, if they're like, oh, this ceremony's happening or this event's happening, this seminar's happening, they need a firekeeper. I'd be like, me, like for sure, I want it. I want to be there, you know?
Yeah.
And what firekeeping entails is like, it's not just like making sure fire runs. Like it's a lot of like spiritual work and like making sure everybody's okay. Everybody leaves okay. Nothing like follows anybody. Everybody had a good time. Like they feel safe, you know, that it's like a lot of spiritual work, like medicine work. And just like watching, being very observant with everything, like because a lot of like random shit pops up, especially like you never know with like spiritual shit. And so,
True.
yeah,
True.
yeah, I had a couple of
Facts.
those. Yeah, and so I built this like crazy relationship with the space. So it was really important for me to go out there and like start like actually listening to the trees. Like I felt like you feel so much grief. Like if you start listening, like your heart will break. Like it's hard. If you actually like feel what the earth's feeling, like you could feel a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Like you could totally feel like. I remember like the first time, like I kind of was like, you know what, I'm gonna talk to the trees, like, cause it's like that weird stigma,
Yeah.
like, And
Yeah.
then when I did, I was like, I got so much inspiration and like
Relieving.
creativity from it. Like I seriously went and like wrote this huge thing and like made this like amazing creative assignment for a class. Like it brought a lot to me, just like. And it also gave me a lot of like amazing power and just like it felt good knowing that I was able to like listen and like hear, like digest it. And I was like, whoa, I can do that.
Right?
Like with everything, and everybody can. We just don't do it. Like
Would you say the spike in participation from like people consistently coming, would you say that that's a result of the amount of love and care you put into it? Because I feel like that's just like because you seem to really care about making it better, right?
Yeah.
And when you saw that it was overlooked, and then you started to put a lot of effort into it, and then just magically, just more people start to want to come, right?
Yeah.
I think
I was very mindful, and I just like reflected on my experience, like because and at the time, like I didn't know anything about firekeeping, other than the fact that I was involved with a huge like protest, like world movement thing back in like I was like 13, 14. It's called I Don't Know More, but it was like basically it's like a huge movement of like just getting Indigenous people to like stop sitting and just like start doing shit again. And this happened like when I was 13, like the first like kind of push again. So what happened in Ottawa was like there was 3 people doing hunger strikes like for like the main like Indigenous issues that were happening at the time, like water and like all of these other issues. But they fasted for like 47, like 41, and then like 30 something days, like
Jesus.
no food, no nothing. And so they were on behind Parliament Hill, called Victoria Island, and this was like a small piece of Indigenous land which now has condos on it. But so another story. Yeah.
Shade.
Yeah.
Throw that shade.
Yeah. And so this was happening there. So the main one, who started it, Teresa Spence, was staying in the teepee, and then the other 2 guys were in tents, and then a bunch of helpers, like people like knew that this was happening, got visions, like started getting like this like spiritual calls, and like people from all over the world started just showing up and was like, I need to be here and I don't know why. And everybody felt this, like everybody that came like had this push, and we were like, we don't know what's going on, but we're here to help. Like, and even with us, like me and my dad. So my dad started going, and he kept telling me like, you need to come check this out. And I'm like 13. I'm like, nah, I don't really want to go. Like, And when I went, and it's like midwinter, it was happening in January. So it was like minus like, and it was the coldest winter, bro. Like some nights were like minus like 47, 48. Like we're outside. Yeah. But I went, and I like never left. Like I couldn't leave. So
You slept there.
Oh yeah, well I'd go home. Sometimes I'd sleep there, but like as much as I could, I'd be there. Like, and I was in grade 8, and my dad would sign me out every single. My mom at the time thought I missed like 3 days, bro. I missed like a month and a half because I was like at this all the time. But we were doing. There was press like from all over, like thousands of people every day. Ceremony happening all day and night. Like people coming and visiting. People bringing gifts from all over the world. Huge rallies of thousands of people, like governor general meetings, like like
Damn,
all of these like press.
Must be crazy to be involved in that age.
Yeah, it was like the biggest like what changed my life, like especially at such a young age, like which is why I do a lot of the work I do now. But so that was just so huge to me. So I had experience with like being by the sacred fire there and like being around like, what like responsibility is.
Yeah, so you were learning about.
Yeah, I was learning and like soaking it up. But like since then I couldn't like apply it in a situation. And then so that first year I was like, I'm going to sit back and just like watch the other firekeepers that are around and see what they do.
Yeah.
And like obviously I still knew that was my role. So like I'd do like the parts that I needed to. But in terms of like take like lead, I was still sitting back. Like the first
year. You were learning
year,
mostly.
I was just learning and just listening and but also like taking care of like I love the space right away, right? So that space was my main priority, and then just like picking up as much as I can to take care of it, and then it moved to like because this experience this first year was so good to me and healed me in so many ways, or like push that growth. Or for example, like that first year, I thought you like had to stay with the fire till all the coals went out, bro. Like I'd be out here for so many hours. Like I
when you
lived,
die.
yeah, I lived on campus, and it was like, so it's just like a walk over to work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
you just
I
stayed
stayed
there.
till like 2 or 3 in the morning,
Wow.
like
Shit.
just out there alone, like everybody's sleeping, and I'm just sitting there like by the cool.
You're just watching the
Watching, but like take in like all of the essence that's there, all of the
Yeah,
other
so
people,
you're
the
still taking
beings that
shit
are
in.
there, yeah, like the thoughts that are coming,
Wow.
the people that I'm realizing I need to talk to, like my helpers and all this. It was like so much that was happening, like spiritually.
So it's not like you gain nothing from staying up
Oh
that
no,
late.
it
Yeah.
was like I totally love that I got to do that because nobody gets to do that. You don't get to
No.
just sit outside
Yeah.
like that forever.
Yeah.
And I was like, this gives me a reason because it's my job, but like fuck the job. Like I want to be out here either way, you know. Like it has nothing to do with like there'd be so many times I miss my timesheets or whatever because like I'd never cared about that. I'd be out there for like 20, 30 hours, like no matter what. Like
You'd be there anyways.
yeah, I'd be there anyways. So because of how good my experience was, I was like, as an Indigenous person, like, and for me, I always knew I was coming into an academic space as an Indigenous person with privilege. Like, there's so many people from isolated communities who's never left community before, never
Yeah.
even heard of a Western perspective before, doesn't even like speak the language well, like all of these things, darker than me, all of these things. They're coming here and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And they don't have space or like cultural like
That's so true.
availability to be themselves. I'm like,
Yeah.
nah, you need to come here, bro.
Yeah.
You got you.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I tried to like switch it, and like it happened in like the most beautiful way that I'm like grateful for every single day. And like I'd continue, like I could have continued this year, but I felt like after I did that, I was like, I did what I knew I could bring. Like I can't think of many more ideas now. Like, you know what I mean? Like I got other shit to do too, but like, and I recognized who was around the space at that time, who would be best to take it over. So now she's taking it over and she's like doing great
So
stuff too.
cool.
So like I understood. I was like, nah, like I want to see what you could do and like the magic you bring, because like I just put my all into
Yeah.
the shits and like it
'Cause,
worked
I
out.
mean,
So keep
3
going.
years later, like it's like, you know.
Yeah, it's like I got.
You've built it
Yeah.
into something bigger though. So now I think you're gonna leave the example for the next person to. They'll know. They'll pick up the vibe of what you were on. So they'll
And
know.
now
they'll
just
know.
in general, like, and it honestly, it's not even about like, although like how many people came out, like the numbers were great, but it's not even that. It's like, honestly, all I care about is just that the space is just getting love, and it's just getting like people showing up for it, and you know, just like acknowledging it, seeing it, and like valuing in the space. Because like before, people would come like in and out, seminars would be out there, but it was like very
Yeah.
dismissive. But I'm like, no, interact with the space, like see her, you know what I mean? Like, and feel like if you need her, you can go to her and you'll be okay. Like so many times people are crying, they're like, I'm going to the TV, or
Yeah.
they leave the class and they're, I'm going to the TV, or they leave, like, you know,
That's
it's like
so
a
cool.
normal thing. I'm going to the TV, like, you know, and it's
You're
like,
like everyone's therapist.
yeah, seriously.
and that's a great thing.
And
That's
then we
a great
can talk
thing.
to each other, so
That's
we are.
that's
Yeah.
such a beautiful thing because like being able to do that, I think that's so important to be able to do as like I'd say as a human being in general, to have something where like people can like fall back on it and know that there's going to be a consistency there in what they're going to get from it, and to also get people to be invested
Yeah,
in it.
to keep coming back.
Because like they're not just coming there to get something from it, they're also here to put love in.
Yeah, because
So
and they always say like, especially with working with the fire, like for example, if you're impatient or if you got shit you're holding on to, or if
Exactly.
you're mad, or if you got anything on you, yo, your fire's not getting built, bro. Like that shit's gonna fall down so many times, and I've been there. Like, you know, I know, and so that's gonna fall on you. Something's gonna happen with it. Like it's not gonna work out. So you have to like slow down, like shut up, like, you know, pride aside, like whatever aside, and just like build that thing with your heart, you know, like
Yeah.
with focus and like passion, and like, you know, the other stuff doesn't
Love,
matter.
yeah.
And then when it's up, like, you know, keep feeding that goodness into it, and then keep it up, like sustain it, you know. But like it's not gonna work if it's like done in from a wrong place, or like if it's
like-
rushed.
bro, that's like one of the most beautifulest things.
And you were saying you don't even have a meditation
Fuck.
practice. That is
No,
your
yeah,
meditation.
yeah.
That is, yeah.
It's
no,
not like you
and,
need to close your eyes. You
Yeah.
can just put your love into something that you love yourself.
and the thing I'm getting from this is like you're just a mindful person. So to you, I feel like to you, anything you do is a meditation in itself, because you've learned to do things with love, no matter how much time they may require. maybe not everything, but like most things you do, like
Try.
like you could. I feel like you'd probably get more from a walk than the other person, than the next person, right? Because you're paying attention to things. You're giving love to the little things that you know, to the little beauty that you notice.
Yeah.
And that by itself is just meditating, because you're so tuned in to what's going on.
And like part of why I like keep it up, like the same reason why I'm like made sure that I worked hard to like make the space it was the second year after I had my first year, was like the same with like my things. Like the reason why I interact with like all beings, or like treat with people with like extra kindness or respect, or like all of these things, is like I know, like, you know, that's what I need. Or I know in situations if people like just like shit on me for a half hour of making me do something, rather than like, you know, come to me about it in like a nice like one sentence, like I'm gonna like, you know, behave in such a different way compared to like what you approach me with. So I've just learned to be mindful, because like I want people to be mindful with me, or like at least like try and be mindful with their relationships in general. Like I think it's important. Like everybody, like, you know, functions differently. We don't know what you need, but like also like we don't know like what you've been through, you know, like the shit you're carrying right now, like the shit that just happened a second ago, like you know, like I'm around people who like, and especially with us, like, you know, there's just like so much like just negativity and just like hard shit all the time, like deaths left and right in the family, or like cancers and diseases left and right, diabetes left and right, you know, like,
or even just going on Twitter.
Everything, missing, murder, Indigenous women, like so many things, like, so it's just like we need to go about things in a gentle way. Like that's at least what I try and do. But also like simplicity is really important to me, at least within the last like couple months for sure. Like it's like the summer was filled with like I had this like personal like experience with just something that was so much, like it was so complex, but for like all the wrong reasons. And then like after I got out of it, I was like, no, what I long for, what I need are like the most simple things. Because if you think about it, like, and I try and like switch perspectives again, like for example, like you, like some of your biggest goals, like if you really think about it, we're not chasing like the actual like outcomes of these goals or like the achievements that come from it. We're chasing the feelings, like period. But if you think about it too, we have a lot of these feelings already. And so like accomplishment, you know, success, happiness, warmth, whatever, we have it, or we've had access to it in other ways. So like being mindful of these things.
Tripping me out, because like literally every philosophy is saying the exact same thing. And like the Joe Dispenza shit we listen to, like he's a doctor, and his thing is basically just feel as if you already have it, and that's the trick.
Yeah, that's how you get it.
And give gratitude with the feeling of gratitude too. Like feel as if it felt if you already had these things, because you've already experienced that feeling, right?
Even the thought of it,
like it's the material thing itself may not have happened yet, but the feeling you will get when you achieve that thing, you've already felt before.
And people live on such even me, like we live on such an intellectual like plane where we're just like, I want this. I want this because of this.
What are the steps?
And it's not even like the feeling, like just have it. You don't even need to strive for it. Like, you already have it.
But the acting like you're gonna get it, like that, I also learned that at such a young age, and I think I did it in like an indirect way, where I was like learning like the power of it by doing it in like ways like without actually being like, okay, I'm gonna focus on this. But when I realized like that I was doing it indirectly and how much like outcome came out of it, and then when I started focusing and being like, okay, no, I'm actually gonna use this practice and apply it, bro, it fucking works. Like, you know, I've gotten to every job, like 100%. every single thing that I apply for, or like in terms of jobs or like opportunities. And I think it's like, I'm not the type of person, I'm not going to go for something if I don't think I could do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, period. Like, I know what I know my capability. I know what I have. Like, no one else knows. Like, you know? And so I'm going to be honest with myself. And if I think I'm going to do it, like, I'm going to do it. Like, you know? So if I'm getting that job, like, I already know I'm getting the job.
And
like,
it has no doubt.
And no one else who could be applying or whatever is getting, and like, interfering with that. Like,
that shit's yours.
Like, and honestly,
that
like,
shit is yours.
And it's not even an ego thing, but it's just like, it's really important to understand your value and your power and like what you hold and like where it applies and where it can do good and where it cannot do good, you know?
That's why self-awareness is so important.
It's important to step back too, like, because if you're not
you're not lying to yourself. That's why you're getting most of the things you want, because you know exactly what you want and where your strengths are.
Yeah.
So you know that when you go for something, if it's tailored to who you are and your strengths, the chances of you getting it are almost 100%. Because you're not lying to yourself about what you want.
Yeah. And that's why I knew, like, when I needed to pass on that position, I was like, if I kept going, it'd still be good and, like, consistent. But am I bringing anything to it? I don't think so. I know that next girl is going to bring a bunch. Like,
I love you so much. Wow.
So,
what do you see yourself doing in the next, like, 5 years?
Yo, I have so many plans. 5 years? 5 years, like, kind of, like, lowers my... So
20.
I'm going for my master's and PhD. Like, that's always been a plan. To me, like, it's really important. It's always been really important to me and like a goal of mine, just to create like things that are just fucking from me and like influence from everything, but like just mastering something myself, like you do. Like, you know, it's really inspiring, honestly, like to actually master and get into everything. Like with the PhD, like I want to be fully involved with the knowledge and the things that I'm about to like give out, you know? So that's like, that's like kind of where that comes from. But after that, I've always wanted to like be a professor, institutions and like academia. Like,
wow, you'd be so good at that. You'd be really good.
As Holy much shit. As like as much cons as like Western institutions and like academia can provide, like I'm also aware of all the access and opportunity that I've been able to like, you know, be in touch with and how much is brought to me. So if I can, I want to make sure that other people have that too. Like, you know, what I got from university and all the amazing, like seriously, Trent has the best community in terms of like all the people I'm around, TAs I'm around, like profs I'm around. They're all amazing and I have like amazing connections with them. It's like a very fluid group. So like it's important to me to keep that up like somewhere else, wherever I go. Just to get like, just to do that for me. Like that's like an important part. Yeah. So ideally I would love to go work in the East Coast because I'm from the East Coast. So like CBU, like Cape Breton University. Some of my elders do like major work over there in terms of being like the elders, like the in-house elders over there. So I want to like use the knowledge that they're passing to me and then like keep it alive over there while like adding mine. Hopefully be like chair of Mi'kmaq studies over there. Yeah. Because I want to do like just major stuff within institution, and then when I get that out of the way, then my big thing is because like I've always been taught, do shit for yourself, do shit for the world, do shit for your loved one, but like what are you doing if it's not for your community? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it may seem like I'm not doing anything for it now because I can't go home all the time or I'm not doing like direct things, but like at the end of the day, that's what I'm thinking about every day, all day, you know? And so there's gonna be like a big bam. You know? Yeah. Okay. And so my biggest goal is to have like a huge, it's like so big to even like break down, but like within my community or near my community, like a place where you can have like our type of education, like on the land with a camp in the back, like a full on like traditional area that's huge, where you can also learn the language, where you can also get counseling from Indigenous people, where you can also get like health. That would be huge. Where you can go for non-violence, like family violence, where you can go to like get away from that. And then also, it's just a basically like huge gathering space. That's a great idea. That's actually a great idea. And it's amazing because I ran into so many people who also have similar ideas, who like are huge people in my life. So I just know this is also like, it's the right idea too, because I know so many people who can either be a part of this, who can add their flavor to it, or can give me some sort of insight in some way. So every day, the shit that I do and just like the mindfulness I carry is just like, what can I pick up that can help this process? Because I know it's going to be big, and I know like I can't just make it up like the night before, you know? So I'm just slowly collecting, and like I don't know what it's going to look like or how it's going to come out, and I know I'm not going to do this till I'm like elderly age. But like, you know it's going to happen. But it's going to happen, Good. Like, and so, and it's just like, education's huge for me, and honestly, like the best way for Indigenous people to learn is like in our own way, but also learn like, and we don't shit on like the Western knowledge. Like my elders kind of like created the idea of two-eyed seeing, which is like looking through both eyes, so using the Indigenous knowledge and the Western knowledge, and both like that's how you can get the most, actually. Getting the most, because both bring super big value, you know. And then so applying this with like in terms of two-eyed seeing really goes with like ecological, like environmental, like all these things, but using that approach probably with this. So teaching us in a way where we can understand with the language, with the land, all of these things, but also like making sure that we get other like concrete, which whatever else you need to like keep going. But yeah.
In relation to that, I wanted to ask this question because this episode will come out the 30th of December.
Weird.
So that's 2 days before New Year's.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, what are your thoughts on the deck? I mean, we already asked Tim, but what are your thoughts on, well, first the year and then the decade, the 2010s?
These are big questions. Personally or like generally?
Both.
You choose.
Okay. The way I look at it, I think 2019 for a lot of people, just based off like patterns, I guess, that I was like picking up. I think 2019 was like such a needed year that everybody needed to go through in order to get like the goodness that I think 2020 is going to bring. And I know everybody says this shit about years, but I've never been that person to be like, 2019 feels like a good year. Like, you know, like I'm just not like, but 2020 fucking feels like a good year. Like, and I heard that like it's going to treat a lot of people good. And like
there was just like a mindfulness and awareness throughout this whole year that I haven't had in other previous years.
Mm-hmm. But do you think like also is a hard year? Like I feel like a lot of people went through some shit. But I don't know about you guys.
I'd say it was like, to me, from looking from my perspective, it was just it feels like we're coming to a climax of a big transition.
For sure.
And I think the next, and of course the fact that it's the end of a decade, we're gonna get our minds to think that way too. But if it's a collective thing that we're thinking, it's gonna happen collectively also,
for
right?
sure, yeah, and that's the power of manifestation too.
Because it feels like a lot of things have been changing, and then this year's like the climax of that.
Yeah,
it's
I honestly feel like
a
huge like creative like cloud, like if that makes
too,
sense.
yeah.
Like, and I don't know, maybe it's because like I'm in a really creative space recently, but like I also feel like the people around me or like the other creatives especially, and like when I mean creatives, like I mean the people who like actually think fucking like creative shit all day. Like I know, like, you know, there's a difference. Like there's a difference between like people who have creative like capacity and ability, and like I'm not trying to shit on it. Like, you know, art is art and like creatives are creatives, but like, you know, there's a difference when like someone's mind's like racing with this shit all the day, and then others are just like not. Like
there's people who make it, and then there's people who live. Yeah, like that's their lifestyle.
And so I think this is important for those people. Like this year is gonna be like I think this year is gonna carry lots of like release and like pathways to like expression, like expressions in general. Like maybe like the answers of like, and not for everybody, but maybe for those some people of like they've been trying to figure out like a way they could get their art out or their like gift out, and like finally this year they're like, this is fucking it, and like they run with it. Like
it feels like there's gonna be a lot of breakthroughs.
Yeah, and I hope it is. Like, you know, at least for me, like it feels like I got some like big shit cooking up in the like, and I hope that way too. Even even if you watch like collective patterns, like I watch a lot of like rap interviews and just artist interviews in general. Like even hearing them talk, like you can even see that they even hold, like they even know that the year's big, you know. So it's like, yeah, if everybody's seeing it, it might be, but.
What about the decade?
The decade? The fuck?
Like 10 whole last years.
Yeah.
10 whole last years. This decade, you went from negative to positive.
No, honestly, the decade was like huge. And I think about this a lot because I think it's really important to like really be aware of the place you're in, like the age you're at. And also I compare I really make sure I tune into that younger self a lot, because like there's been times where I neglected that younger spirit in me. It's the
purest form.
And it hurts, bro. Like when like especially for example like grade 12. Like grade 12 was a time where like all those like normal friend groups you're so used to since like for example for me since grade 7. Yeah. The beginning of grade 12, bro, everybody split apart. Yeah. I had nobody. The beginning of grade 12, I had nobody, which is fine. But like at the time I was like, what the fuck?
What the fuck's going on?
I was like,
where do I go?
And so I was just faced with solitude that whole fucking year, which ended up being the best thing for me. But like, you know, it was hard. So I just, learned from that. Like you really, and then when I started to like re-bridge these relationships, like now I'm friends with like all the people from like that I was actually close to from high school. Like, you know, there's a difference.
For sure.
Yeah. So I mended those bridges, and like just having connection with these people who have known me from this like the start. Like grade 7 was such a like, time, like to know somebody from then, to see them grow, to still love and respect them in the same way, and to just see them, like that's so valuable to me, because like although I have so much amazing like community and like all this in Peterborough, I don't have people that have known me for, I don't know one person that have known me for longer than 2-3 years. So do you see me? Like, do you know what I mean? So that's when I started connecting, and I started like reconnecting like a year ago from today. And it just brought so much like heartbreak and like grief to myself, because I was like, bro, I really just shut this out for like 2-3 years. Like all this shit's coming out, like, that like younger self in me. So I don't know, this decade was just like, it brought me to like really be mindful of that relationship with your younger self, that older self. Like think about like, where did you want to be when you were younger? Like, where did you actually see yourself when you thought about 18, 19, 20? You dreamed about this shit. 16 even, like, and compare it, be proud of it, the small things, the unexpected things, like, like.
Before people started to make you feel stupid for it.
And just fuck the judgment, actually, like, check in with yourself. Like, what did this decade hold? So, like, I think a lot of it, to me, was just, like, listening to that younger self, that older self, and then the blending, being mindful of things and respectful. Like, I don't know, but also I'm recognizing, with that whole point, I'm recognizing that I'm in like a really big peak, and like, I think you need to hold on to that, like, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, these are like really important years, and we don't have like, we're not going to have, especially like physical ability, like I think about that a lot. Even in a couple years, like your back's gonna fucking hurt. Like there's things
your body's
like,
at its
I think
peak.
that comes down to lifestyle.
True, but like for sure. But the way that most people
it's the shit people take for granted. Because like the fact that our body's at a peak, it handles shit way easier than it will in a few years.
It's gonna be like this forever.
Then people think it's gonna be like that forever, and then when it starts to break down, but the reason why the way it can stay optimal is if you use this time you have now to start to take care of yourself.
Take care of something and they'll take care of you. Like that's a really big thing that we have with the fire. Like the fire takes care of us way more than we could ever like make or take care of a fire, Fire is life, water is life. Like, and if you dissect it, it's true. Like you can't carry a baby without water. You can't make life without water.
Can't digest without fire.
All these things. So I don't know.
It's so hard to think about the decade, man.
Yeah, the year is just it's so
bro,
much.
Like going into like 2011, I got into high school.
Yeah,
and now I'm
because it's like you're in
my
your
third grade 9 of
10,
fucking life.
Like 2010, we're all like 10-ish years old. So like it's like memories are not that like crazy, I think from 2020 to 2030, we're gonna remember a bit more.
Oh, way more.
But it's just like we weren't thinking that much about life.
Yeah, but I think it's so beautiful and like fun to just think about it. Like, what did I think I was gonna be like at this age?
But I don't even remember. I actually don't even remember.
Oh, really?
I know. I remember. I'll never forget that conversation. It wasn't necessarily a conversation. It was just like three exchanges between me and my parents, and I was staring. We were just driving home in Haiti. Where I'm staring out the window. And I think we were listening to a song, and they were all talking about the song. And I was I've always been infatuated with like art and music. And then they were asking me, I think someone asked me, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I remember staring outside the window and going, "I want to be an artist."
Oh my god!
Wow.
And then everyone just laughing and going, "That's not a real job." And then to think about that, like that memory came back very recently from that, like a bit before that episode when I said that for the first time.
And you probably needed to feel it at the time it came out.
Oh, dude. Like the fact that I had forgotten that happened.
Yeah, I need to forget it for a reason.
And it was like a bit before we recorded the episode when I first mentioned that to Akris. I was just, I think I was at work or something, or I was at home, and then that memory just randomly came up, and I was like, wow, what are the odds?
Yeah.
It's like I had flushed the idea of me being that for like a nice gap. There was a nice gap where I just forgot the concept of being that.
And doesn't that feel so good? Like, I think that's why, because I had like a similar thing with like my art, which like I'll explain in a second, but like those moments where like it just fucking like slaps you in the face and you're like those are
you're like, fuck.
But they're amazing, they hold like so much. Like for me, like as a young girl, like right away I always knew I was an artist and a creative too, and I couldn't find the way to express it. Like I knew it was art and I knew it was drawing, but when I would always doodle or make like drawings. I'd never like put time and effort and like actual patience into it, like to like develop something that's like more than a doodle. So this whole time I'm thinking, fuck, I can only doodle. Like, and all of like so many people in my family are artists. My older sister's a graphic designer. Like, you know, my cousins, like, you know, like all these things. And I'm like, all these guys are artists and I can't do only shit. And I'm like, but I feel it in me. Like, I was so mad. Like, it was hard too, because like I couldn't express it. Like, it was a buildup and it was hard to like hold. And it would shine in other ways. Like I could do like cool things like with like making posters or like lettering on the computer. I could do like graffiti art and shit. Like I could do like cool little things, but it was never like a full theme or piece that I could do.
What would you say is the easiest medium for you to express yourself creatively?
Art for sure. Yeah.
What medium?
Oh, like like
is it music, on paper?
Okay, yeah. So
jewelry.
I would honestly, I feel like I'd have to put music over everything, just because like music is like the one thing that like I feel like carries me through all this stuff and like just the way that I need. Like if I don't get my music every day, like you'll know where you'll see me.
I can tell how invested you are into it from like the amount of playlists I see you have. Like Jesus Christ.
I have like 40 and like I'm like dedicated. Like it cheeses me if there's one song in there that's like throws off the theme. Like it hurts me.
Like she just concept playlists to a whole fucking
like they
different
all
level.
have like theme like who like I have names for them like who smokes just to smoke like
wow
yeah bumping for me like
send me these
I'll send it to like all of them and they all have themes. Like I have playlists that are just my music, playlist that's good for friends, playlist good for smoking, playlist that's good for sad groove and blues, like fucking like
so cool
70s 80s and 90s tracks like all over.
The dedication.
I want to be accommodating but also I just love music, so it's like works out. But my biggest thing is like rap, R&B and like hip hop. And I have been listening since I was like grade 2, grade 3, so it goes way back. But music, like you'll see me even throughout a day if I'm working or in school so much like back-to-back meetings and shit, and I don't have time to listen to music, like I'll start geeking out. Like where like just give me some headphones or like play a couple of my favorite tracks, and I'll like and I'll be chill, and I can like you can have me the rest of the night and I'll be good. But like I need that, you know, it's like
that's
a
very
fix.
cool.
Like, So music, I would say is like.
Have you ever thought about writing about music?
I think about it all the time. I think I'm like kind of getting to a point where like,
I feel like you'd be very good at
I'll
that.
start
like either videos or just like a writing thing where you could just like write about the new shit you come across.
Yeah.
Like
honestly, I had that idea in high school. Like I wanted to do that in high school where like I would just like review before reviews came like a big thing. Like the main review people would be on YouTube, but other than that it wasn't like a big thing. But
you want to do a few for the site?
Yo, for real?
Let's do
I
that.
totally would. Yeah, because like I love and like I notice detail, like, and that's why it was so like it was just I was so proud of you and your work, just because I know like how much work it takes to conquer so much detail and to conquer so much like certain sounds or like feelings within music and songs in general. Especially because I watch like a lot of documentaries and like videos and like processes too.
You know your shit.
Yeah, so just seeing that you did it, I was like, what? I was like, the fuck? I was shook. Like it was huge. Like, and I'm super happy for you. And like I know it's just gonna like fuck. You're at this like, and you're like what, like 19, 20, like bro.
Thank you
Imagine
so
like
much.
25, like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
No, but seriously, no. If you want to like start, like you could just write a few things and then just throw them on the site. And I'm thinking of doing a magazine too, so I could give you like a section for that.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I'd
you
love
could
to
do
be
a few
involved
things.
in like any way.
You could talk about like your favorite albums and shit.
Yeah.
That'd be something that could be torture I could put you through.
No, and it's
to
not
categorize your fucking albums, your favorite ones.
Honestly, it is kind of torture to me because of how meticulous I get. Like
and how many fucking albums you've heard.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, to just
honestly,
pick them out.
Like my Spotify has like maxed out so many times where it's like you.
Damn, they max out.
Yeah, they maxed out.
Wow. That's fucked. That's so fucked.
I maxed it like 4 times, bro. Like,
Jesus Christ.
Like you literally have to go back and like undownload shit and like save shit, and like it's such a
That's so funny.
But I just be like, because I also with like Spotify and like why I get like so obsessed with it is just like I want to be able to access an album or a sound or a song like when I want it and need it at at that time. So like, so part of that like was I fucking wanted every album I knew saved and downloaded on my phone because I needed that shit.
Just in case, you never know.
And even now, like when I have to normally all my playlists are fully downloaded because like so the way I do it is like I'll listen to like full albums. Like I've always listened to full albums like front and back, and I give them multiple listens and all that. And then I just like feed them into the playlist that they fit into. Like I have like all different vibes and all this stuff.
That's a skill.
Yeah.
Bro, like you have no idea how hard that is.
Yeah. It is hard because
nigga, I've fucking
like, I'm
tried.
just thinking about it. I'm like, I have so many playlists and they're so shitty. Like
I've tried.
And you have to go
so
back
hard.
so many times because it could fit in like one day, like how you're feeling, but like that next
day
week
you're
is not
like,
gonna fit. Yeah, so you have to go back and like that's my biggest thing. Like on my to-do list all the time, it'll seriously be like clean out, and then I'll have like the name of the playlist like that I need to go clean out. Like
cleaning your room.
Yeah. So Noah actually like helped me with the concept because before.
Yeah, Noah's good at that too.
Noah's good with playlists, and like we've always had like we can feed off of each other for like organizing them. Because me and Noah with music have always been like this since grade 7.
Just
like
fucking
I give
geeks,
him shit,
bro.
he gives me shit,
Just
and then we talk about
geeks.
it and we see it in like the similar way. And I don't get that with many people. Like
It's so cool.
everybody can say they love rap, fucking R&B and hip hop music, but like, bro,
just
you
roll your
really
eyes.
don't. Like
You really don't.
Like you know,
think you know, nigga? Yo, you're thinking you know, you don't
Yeah, I'm
know.
like, bro.
It's so funny.
And it's hard because like it's such a big part of me that I need to have conversations about it, and like that's why I was happy to be up in here, like or to like that's why I'm happy when other people are involved with music and I can like be a part of it. Cause
What's
like,
your process for like listening to a new album?
Yeah, so my favorite,
Your favorite way to like
favorite
listen?
hands down. But don't have access to it all the time is definitely like I would say a car, like just like
Yeah, I feel that too.
I think alone in the car with just fucking full volume, and like my ears are so bad, bro, because how much music I've listened to, like it's actually bad. Like I'm getting to the point where like I'm screaming all the time and it's so bad. But anyways, it's a whole other story.
It's the price you pay.
Yeah, so I'm like so
Because you cannot not listen to it loud.
I know. I'm like,
It's
how
like-
else are you supposed to experience it? Those people who listen to it at like.
Like I'll see some screenshot of people listening to fucking music and it's like halfway down. I'm like, what the
You're not
fuck?
even listening at
Yo,
that point.
if
Do you
I had
even
an
hear it?
album and I saw people listening to it on like, I'd literally be like, don't even listen to my album.
Like, you know?
if you're not getting the full experience, don't
Like,
listen.
do it
to
loud. That's why the car
Do it
is cool.
loud.
That's why the car is cool because you can just bang it
Yeah.
out as loud. Like
Yeah.
even if the fucking everything in the car is vibrating, it's
Yeah,
not
Like
you're
good.
bumping.
the whole room is just firing music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, especially like alone. I feel like alone is a really good vibe. Or if you're with somebody who's just as in it as you
Yeah.
are. But other than that, it's hard to it's hard to fully enjoy music in a car if everybody's not on that wave. Like,
Yeah.
and so that's my main. But then other than that, if I can't have that, then it's always like speakers, like headphones, like in my bed, like literally usually with the lights off. Like I'll seriously like go in my bed, like lay down, and I'm like fucking staring, like dead ass. I'm staring in the ceiling, and I'm just fucking listening to every
Your
word
eyes are
and
still
sound.
open.
Like sometimes then I go in and out,
That's so cool. That was one of my favorite listens this year was Igor.
Oh yeah.
Just because of the way he marketed. Well, it's not necessarily the way he marketed. The directions he gave to listen to the album.
Yeah.
And when I was like, oh yeah, I haven't listened to an album that way in a long time. Let me try it.
Yeah.
And the experience is so
Well,
much
how
better.
did you? Because he listed a couple. So which way did you take it? Didn't he like?
I was just in my room because it was midnight
Yeah,
when it dropped.
yeah.
Like I listened as soon as it
Yeah.
dropped. I didn't wait.
I did the
So-
the headphones in my bed thing with you
Yeah.
too, and I fucking replayed that shit like so many, like 4 or 5 times.
Oh, dude,
Just,
I was
like,
on
every
FaceTime.
drum,
I was like, yeah, I was sorry. I gotta go.
Yeah,
Put
I like
myself on
fully
airplane
headbang
mode.
in bed.
Oh.
I'm like bumping to it. I'm like, or like the dirtiest
So
faces,
cool.
like for sure when you're listening to the album, like the full on like the faces that you make of just like grimy
Yeah.
shit you're hearing, and it's so fun. Like
Yeah, it's fire.
it's the best thing.
You
in
told
the
me to
world.
listen to it. I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a good album.
And it was like-
strong.
To a lot of people, it's shocking. It wasn't shocking to me, like, because I knew he was gonna kind of do like some like crazy fucking weird shit like that. But like in the way he executed, I was so happy with. I'm proud
So
of.
good. Oh my god.
So-
What would you say like your? Oh, I'm so sad to be doing this to you. What would you say your top 5 this year would be?
Oh, this year albums?
Is that easy this year?
This is the thing.
Albums, yeah.
It's only hard because then I'm just scared that I forget albums that came
You don't
out
wanna
this year.
disrespect, yeah.
Just in case, like,
The first 5 that come in your head as like top 5.
I'm gonna include some R&B up in here because that Sir album.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Wait, really?
No.
Okay, yeah,
I know Noah's been listening to that a lot.
I was gonna say Noah's gonna be on your ass about that one because like he even posted on his Instagram story that he listened to that shit like fucking for like 20 or like 30 hours, and I was like, yep.
Yeah, I saw his thing, his replay.
I was like, that was me too, to the point where like I can't even listen to it that much anymore. But so okay, we'll keep R&B out. Let's keep it hip hop. Let's keep rap and hip hop up. What else came out this week? Okay, give me some like options that came out this year.
I'd say my number one most listened one is Peggy's album.
Yeah. Oh, word! I
JPEG
saw,
Mafia,
and I saw him in Toronto, earlier this year. Wow. Yeah, so like,
I really wanted to see him.
Yeah, with Vince Staples. So yeah.
Oh, when he was opening for him.
Yeah, so that's how I saw him. It wasn't like a full show.
That's before he was even like hot.
Yeah. So I knew of him. He was familiar, and I heard him on like some shit. But like in terms of like,
no, I'm like really out of the loops. You guys enjoy.
I was like, why is he nodding?
Me too. I thought it was somebody, and there was nobody there, and I was like, I'm gonna let you do you. Oh yeah, so I didn't know much about him, but when I experienced him, like he seriously even came up on stage and like went in the crowd and was just in everybody's face. He like hugged somebody, like fucking like threw them around. It was just like such an experience.
Yeah, he interacts with the crowd a lot.
Yeah, but those beats, bro, like I feel like I've never like felt like rhythm and beats like all go throughout my body like he did. So I definitely got put on his shit like right after. Like I downloaded like every album and like went back into it, and then his new shit was definitely, I didn't get into it like as much as I hoped. Also, which stresses me out a lot, is like I can't dive into music as much as I always want to because of how much shit I have going on. So that's a whole other fucking issue.
Yeah, the time problem.
Yeah. What else came out this year? Igor was huge.
When I Get Home. Solange.
Oh, sorry.
Come on, man.
No, this is an issue of mine. Like titles of I'm just very because of Spotify. I think like the artwork and like songs I'm really familiar with, but album like names not always as like great with. Solange was like freaking crazy.
It's my second most listened one, I think.
I listen to Schoolboys a lot, but like he wouldn't be in my top 5.
I didn't like that one.
What else came out this? I'm like blanking out on what came out this year. Who else put out?
What came out? Oh my god.
We're all like,
I'm blinking.
What do you listen to?
I listen to mostly old stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like jazz.
Oh okay, that's good.
Or like soundtracks mostly.
Mm-hmm. That's nice though. It keeps you in like a good space probably. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It gets boring though.
Yeah.
Yes, it's boring.
I stopped listening to music that like I don't listen to it as much.
Yeah.
You should try some new shit, bro.
I should, yeah. I just been mostly I've been listening to podcasts this year.
Fair.
I'm so mad right now because there's albums that I for sure have been like playing back and forth, but like honestly, to God,
it's hard to think about it on the spot. I find,
but like you're freaking up there for sure. Like the amount of times I listened to freaking like Studio Session 1 and then also sorry, not Studio
Study Series,
or Studies, sorry, titles again. And the new one, like so many plays. Like it's the same. Like I know you're Geo, and like I know you, but like I still go to it, like and replay it, like I would like any other artist and album. Like I genuinely want to hear like this whole album or this whole like sound right now, and like the only place I could get it is like Geo, like right, you know, like that like hits like every like part that I want to hear. So yeah, so
stop.
No, but it's like yeah. So
thank you.
Rap albums though, give me more.
I have I don't know. I haven't been that active and listening to new music this year either. I've been listening to King Cruel for 2 years straight.
Yeah, and honestly, you probably just listen to yourself a bunch, because you have to. Like
yeah, and it's been like I get attached a lot. So like the thing is, I listen to Peggy's albums. I've been listening to Peggy's album consistently since it dropped.
Yeah,
and it's so hard to get into new shit because while I'm listening to new shit, I'm like, fuck, like I really just want to listen to the to the songs I like right now.
Yo, that's so mean sometimes. Like sometimes like I'll be like, okay, I need to listen to this new album because like I know it's something I need to check out, and I get through like half of it, and I'm like, bro, I need to save this moment for another time because it ain't happening today. Like
you
I
just
need
keep
to
thinking about this different song.
Go to my favorite playlist and just like shuffle the same.
That's a big thing for me too. Like if I'm not in the mood to listen to it, fuck it.
You have to be in the mood. And yeah, I don't think I've definitely learned like not to be like forceful or like especially with like feeding songs into playlists because I do get anxiety with it. So like I want to like right when I start playing a song, I want to figure out the mood of it in like 30 seconds. And I'm like, yo, it doesn't work that way because it might have a drum in like a minute and 30 that I don't like in the playlist.
Yeah, the unexpected shit.
Yeah.
That's so intricate.
It's a lot. But also I started diving into the Spotify like early high school too. Like when all that shit came out of like the Spotify like wrapped up or whatever, you could see like how many minutes you listen to, and like it was so funny. I like put it on Instagram too. In like 2016 and like 2017, like my minutes at one point were like to the max of like 200 like thousand or like 300, like it was like over 200,000 minutes within a year, and like 70,000 is 50 days straight. So
Jeez.
50, like that's what I had this year, but this was 200,000. And Noah like replied and was like, them high school days. That's like nothing more accurate than that, because like you would fall asleep with music. Every second was music, you know. In high school you had like so much access.
That shit on loop overnight.
Yeah, now we don't have time for it. Like it's hard to like actually.
Yeah.
So that's where like all these like practices came from, and they just like evolved. But like I can't fucking ditch them now.
You're lucky like a shaman.
What?
You don't even know it.
Actually, yeah, I see that. I see that in your future. No, you're just so good. Like I feel like you're just a good like leader figure, but not even like leader in the sense of like business CEO. Like just like you're someone that people could come to when they need some kind of direction. A
good teaching I learned about like leadership is and I think it got presented to me this year, is like you should never like, and the person who gave it to me, they're like I would never and his name's Shawano. He was like, I would never raise my kids like, and like I don't want to teach them to be leaders. I don't want to teach them to, you know, like strive to be the leader or accomplish to be the leader. Like, you know, leadership is just showing up where you can and where like your strength is when it's needed. Like if you can actually just stand up and like show up at that time when you know you need to, or when it's presented to you, or like that opportunity. Because
everyone's a leader somewhere.
Yeah, because like everybody carries their own gifts for sure. Like and they're all individual and like all these things. So like
that's so crucial.
So like no one aims to be a leader, or like at least maybe
I think that's like the best definition of leadership
for sure. Like it definitely put it in perspective, because like even prior to that I was like I would like to take some pride into like being like, oh, I have some leadership roles, but now I'm like, nah, fuck that shit. Like I just like know where things need to be improved or like things need work on, and like I'm the only one that could do it at this time, but like tomorrow somebody else could do it. Like don't get too attached, you know.
That's fire.
Yeah.
Here's your assignment. You need to come up with the top 5 and then send it to me.
Word, I could totally do that.
Yeah, no. Like you need to think about it. I want to know your top 5.
If I look at Spotify, I could easily like I just didn't want to pull up my phone.
Yeah, you just need time.
Yeah, I need time. I'll digest it, sit with it for a day or whatever, and then I'll get back to you for sure.
It's been roughly 75 minutes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna end it here.
Yeah, we should wrap it up.
This is 100% one of my favorite episodes.
Really?
Like
I've learned a lot.
Really?
You're so fucking pure. Holy shit.
I'm so happy that
like this is leaving me, like the amount of inspiration I just picked up from this, just from your energy and you just being around and just talking. And I knew this was gonna happen because I remember, like, just from the like memories or just like our previous interactions. I know like you're just good energy. Like you're just good energy. So I see what's coming. And I'm just so happy for you before it's even here in your future. Like so happy.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm so like I knew right away. I was like, well, I've watched like every episode.
Yeah, I gotta be on this.
Yeah, so every time I watched the episode, the reason why I wanted to be on it was because every time I'd listen to the topics and conversations, like I'd think and like talk back like in my head, and I'm like, fuck, I need to be like in there, like get me on. Like so, yeah, you brought it to life. So thank you for having me.
Any parting words?
Kaylee's the guest this episode, guys. By the way,
any parting words? I don't know. Say thank you. Yeah.
Say thank you.
Yeah.
Give her money
all the time.
Give her money. Wait, fuck us. Yeah. We don't deserve money. Not this episode.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Bye bye so much. Bye bye so much. Bye bye so much. Bye.